Hey guys, if you know me at all, you probably know I'm a little bit of a nut for kind of dark, macabre, quasi supernatural, historical types of details, stories, things like that, especially things that have to do with the 1800s. So I simply have to take a second to recommend this book to you, The Devil in the White City by Erik Larson. I mean, this thing's got it all. Serial killers, murder hotels, Chicago World Fair. You're gonna love it. It's not a kissing book. Let me tell you that. It's not a kissing book. Well, I mean, there's a little bit of kissing. Okay, so what is this book? Well, it turns out in 1893, Chicago hosted the most recent World Fair. I mean, millions of people flooded from all over the world into Chicago, completely overwhelming the city's infrastructure and the local police force. One may argue that this type of influx was the perfect setting and environment for one of the United States' most notorious serial killers to come about. The book itself follows the story of two different men. One is Daniel Burnham. He is the lead architect and basically the producer, the guy who's making the Chicago World Fair happen. And boy, did he have a task ahead of him. He basically had to transform the lakefront of Chicago into what could be one of the biggest spectacles the world has ever seen. He built buildings and buildings in really innovative new architectural styles. He brought in all sorts of cool horticulture and plants that Chicago has never seen before. And he really cleaned up the city in a major way, especially since Chicago is still reeling from the big Chicago fire. The stakes for Daniel Burnham were huge. I mean, we're talking national humiliation if he couldn't pull this off. After all, the last World Fair the world had seen was the Paris, France World Fair, and that brought us the Eiffel Tower, which to this day stands out as one of the great architectural pieces in the world. So a lot of sacrifice and time went into preparing Chicago. I mean, people died building these buildings. They died getting this fair ready. Then author Erik Larson uses that backdrop to tell a parallel story of Dr. H.H. Holmes, the notorious serial killer, who, during the midst of all of this Chicago preparation, decided to buy a vacant lot across the street from where one of the major fair sites was going to be, kind of really do his own version of a hotel and include in that version of the hotel a bunch of creepy things, like laundry chutes down to the basement, like little peepholes, little gas type of vents that he could use to kill. I mean, woof. Ooh. While Daniel Burnham is constructing beautiful skyscrapers and dealing with the logistics of such an enormous project, H.H. Holmes is just quietly knocking people off in the background. So first thoughts on the book. I'll be honest, this book was recommended to me by a friend. I saw it on her shelf, and I said, wow, that looks very interesting. And she talked to me a lot about the story of the H.H. Holmes side of this. So I was a little bit floored when I opened the book, and the H.H. Holmes side of it just simply can't be as vast as the preparation for the Chicago World Fair. And so Erik Larson spends, I would say, more time with the Daniel Burnham story about the World Fair architecture and planning than he does with the backstory of H.H. Holmes. Not a ton more. I'd say maybe, it felt to me like maybe a 60-40. So that was a bit of a surprise. I was expecting to go into it and just get like true crime, murder, and instead it was like true crime, murder. Did you know that this building technique was used to, that's a little bit of a change up. But to be honest, by the end I didn't mind it. I mean, I found the storyline of Daniel Burnham and the challenges of the Chicago World Fair to be fascinating. I mean, truly interesting. The competition he was up against with the previous World Fair and what that pushed him to do and pushed him to innovate was just fascinating. So there is that. I feel like I have to warn you, though, if you're going to wander into the book, it's not just about the serial killer. It's actually a substantial, if not a greater portion, to this area of history for Chicago. The book is a nonfiction book, but I would say it very comfortably fits in that category of nonfiction that's reading like a really engaging narrative. When you're reading it, you know that all the information's factual, but it certainly doesn't read like a textbook or anything like that. It's a page turner. You find yourself just drawn in. So if you are the type of person who's like, I don't do nonfiction, I mean, don't be turned off by that. You really will find an engaging story in there. Finally, though, and this is probably the biggest takeaway I came away with, which surprised me, I think the book is worth the read solely for the historical context that it gives for Chicago and for the United States. This took me to an area of history for the United States that I never really could appreciate. It gives you a level of detail and a window into the life and the times of that period that I really, until reading the book, had not had a chance to dive into. So it gave me this feeling that I knew the United States and the culture and the adolescence of the United States in a whole different way. Anyway, if you get a chance, I would certainly pick it up. It's worth a read. It's really interesting, and there are a lot of things that today just seem so standard, either parlance or just there. It's like a commonly accepted type of fact or detail or way of our life that you can actually find origins in the Chicago World Fair. It was a really, really fun read. Good job, Erik Larson. Nice job. Keep it up. I should see what else Erik Larson has written. I'll do that. Anyway, if you like this video, make sure you hit subscribe so you don't miss the next one. And I'm going to go work on the draft of my novel that I'm still working on. And I'm always going to be working on it. There will always be a next draft. I don't know if that's comforting or just exhausting.